Listen, this much no one's going to debate. The Tappan Zee Bridge, it's been there for a while, it's crumbling, and a new bridge was needed, and it's on its way to replace it. But tonight, we want to know, where will the $3.9 billion, and I think when it's all said and done, and I bet you the county executive will agree with me, the number will be even higher than that, where will that money come from? Now, the Times says bonds that will likely be paid for by tolls will help cover the cost of the new bridge. However, no official plan is in place. Times goes on to say that the Port Authority, quote, has yet to appoint a task force to study how to come up with the rest of the funds and pinpoint what the tolls will need to be while the old bridge is still up, and when the new bridge is completed and in the years there follows. Now, you've obviously looked at the math. This has been a debate that's gone on seemingly forever. It's getting built. But you have legitimate questions where this money's going to come from, not just for the initial cost, but sustaining it going forward.
It is a remarkable situation. Think about it. A capital project at this size, perhaps the largest in the nation, and there's no financial plan.
It's amazing, isn't it?
You wouldn't do this under any circumstances in a local government, certainly. You'd know what was going to come, what you're going to build, how much it's going to cost, what you're going to pay in interest, which that $3.9 billion does not include.
And by the way, 3.9, is that still a little optimistic what the total price tag is going to be?
Well, it is, and just the interest on the bonds during construction is another $750 million. Yep. So you can add that right onto it, and then of course you have to pay it off over a period of time. They do not include and have not included what we all worked on, the mass transit component, which was that rapid bus transit. So there's nothing there for that, which has to have, you're going to have something of mass transportation on this bridge, otherwise you're going to end up with congestion.
But for folks who followed it even on the periphery, there was a big fight about, wait a minute, where are we going to find this money? And then it just seemed to just vanish, and all of a sudden we started seeing the bridge get built. It never got resolved. How did that happen?
Richard, it's an election year. This is a win. The governor's going to get the bridge.
No, but forget about who's going to win or who's going to lose.
That's the point.
As a taxpayer issue, I still want to know how we're paying for it.
Yeah, you'll find out after November.
Right. That's exactly why you didn't know. If you had the answer to that question, it would do nothing but raise political opposition in an election year.
This would be an uglier story.
Right.
If we had all these gory details come to the fore. So this is going to happen. That stuff needs to happen. But in the meantime, the only thing that really needs to happen politically is that we're going to get a bridge. And how many years has it been since we've had this debate and we have a bridge?
But here I come back to the question. And you're out of this rat race now. There's no short answer. But it is. I mean, we never found out how you pay for these things, right? Look. So where is the funding coming from, and what are the tolls going to be? Is it going to be $20? I mean, I'm looking at you. You're the one who's got to do it, right?
I take it every day.
Exactly. How much is this thing going to be? Do we know these answers?
We don't, and you just have to imagine somebody in the Thruway Authority or somewhere must have a sheet that shows what the bottom line here is. And everyone's guessing that it's going to be closer to the $15, $13, $14, $15. A couple of quick math tells you that in order to pay off this thing, you're going to be up at least $11, $12, $13. No one wants to talk about it. But someone's got to know what this costs. I mean,
of course they do.
There's a contractor who thinks he's going to get paid. And my guess is he wants to know how the hell is it going to happen.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the reasons why the tolls on the bridge now are lower than they are for the rest of the Hudson River crossings is because Rockland County residents don't have mass transit access to the city. So they really need to drive across the bridge more than they might otherwise. I mean, from what I understand, that's one of the reasons why the tolls are at $5 now.
Well, one of the reasons the Tappan Zee Bridge was built where it was built was to stay out of the Port Authority area so that they could control it themselves, the thruway. And in fact, Orange County, Sullivan County, Ulster County, Rockland County, we don't have a mass transportation component, and that's our only way to get across. And suddenly all those folks are going to get some bad news, and it's got to be bad news on the tolls. Tom Madison, who's the head of the thruway, says it's all going to be driven by tolls. Well, first of all, we don't know the exact price, do we? And those tolls are only one piece of it. And here's the other question.
And that element that you talked about, the idea that mass transit was going to be a part of it, it just seemed to make so much sense. And then it just got too unwieldy and it couldn't happen. But
and what about the tolls on the rest of the thruway?
Sense,
right? You know what? They wouldn't have come to a decision on this whole bridge thing, and that's not the goal here. The goal is for re-election.
I find myself a hypocrite, Andrew and I, or it's myself, in that I always complain about infrastructure. We got to build these things. The stuff is falling. Literally, it was crumbling. All right, you had to fix it. But it would have been nice if there was a little more transparency. Maybe if there was, it wouldn't have gotten done. All right, I want to ask this next question. And Dominic, could get your take on it because some people say penny pinching or saving a buck, but some New York lawmakers would tell you that trips back and forth to Albany can not only add up, but for a lot of them here, they can't make ends meet. And that's why many of them are turning to stipends or call them Lulus, whatever, to make the numbers right. New York Times saying here that legislators who are negotiating the state budget, they receive $172 for each day that they're in Albany, along with money for lodging, food, other expenses. Tax-free, completely legal. However, there are concerns that some legislators are abusing the system. The feds raided the hotel room, get this, of Assemblyman William Scarborough and questioned him about taking per diems on days when he was not in Albany. We know this isn't just in Albany. You talk about city council. Explain what Lulus and these stipends are and how they game the system.
Well, the City Council of New York doesn't really receive these types of Lulus, if that's what you want to call them, but they're really meant to be travel reimbursement. However, I don't know a single elected official, not to say that they don't exist, that has never given any days back to the state. In other words, they max out every single time, even when they're not in Albany. So taxpayers are paying for them to be in Albany. I believe it's $60 a day for food, I believe, and also for hotel while they're in the city of New York.
Oh, wait. Let me add something to this. I'm up in Albany every week. They're not given a whole heck of a lot of money
Speak
to
for
live.
your clients. Go ahead, Frank.
No, to live a luxurious
I'm getting to
lifestyle
that
up there.
point in a
Okay.
second, yeah.
Secondly, these people are underpaid, and it's not just because these are I work with these people and I'm friends.
Well, tell them what they make on an annual basis.
They make $79,000.
And here's the thing, as I understood it,
They need another job. Right.
It was started as to be a member of the Assembly and Senate as a part-time 1 day, maybe 2 day a week job. It's now turned out it's 3-4 days a week. Some guys are up there for the whole week, and as a consequence, whatever side job they have really has to. I won't get in debate, but if you're an attorney and you're a legislator up there, who do you think your clients are going to be? You're paying for access. That leads to some of the other problems we have. If we paid them more money, right? As much as that sounds terrible in today's day and age, we would get a better legislature.
So. I absolutely believe
and all this
so.
BS
this is
about
crazy.
The DMs and all the other.
By the way, New York State deserves a full-time legislature. I think we're big enough at this point in time that our legislature should work the full year and not just half. And we have all this crunch time stuff. There are enough issues around our state to deal with.
And also, you pay them enough, then you say to them, okay, while you're here, you can't have a second job. You can't have conflicts of interest. You can't have the rest.
But Richard, do you really believe half of these crooks, excuse me, do you really believe half of these lawmakers, I'm not calling them all crooks, are really going to stop funneling business to their law firm, even if you give them a pay? Do you really believe that?
Listen, it works in Congress, okay? In that, I'm not
Look at Brad, he's ready to pounce.
No, I am ready to pounce, and I think Congress is a good way to look at it, is you have no relationship with a law firm at that point. And the issues that come up with some of these conflicts, with some of these, ugly scenarios where maybe a special interest is benefits from one thing because of a legislator that works in this particular area, that goes away. Let them get paid the full amount so they don't need the part-time jobs. If they don't like it, if that's not enough money, if $100 and whatever thousand based on congressional, then they shouldn't run for office and let someone else do it.
I would hate to have them working full-time. They make such a mess of things up there. There'd be 300 days of messiness. So I don't go for that. I think they should be paid more, and one has to wonder why they don't do that themselves. It's all politics. But the number of bills they pass up there, they're absolutely meaningless junk stuff. They don't need extra days. They should get paid, and they should have not stipends or Lulus. They should simply get paid a salary that's commensurate. Perhaps like the city council, it gets 110 or 1,000.
We also both know guys who they don't want to spend $60 a night in the Days Inn and whatever. They got wife and kids. They want to go home, but they can't afford to have a place in Albany that pays back in the district. So they're cutting out early, too. I'm just saying the system doesn't work right now. You've been quiet. How would you fix it?
I think I would pay them more and make it more of a full-time Congress. I would warn you, though, Washington, it's not like you don't have any interference with money or with special interests that are paying their way through as well. So it's not a panacea by any means. But, yeah, I would pay them more and I would make it full-time so that hopefully you don't have these kinds of strains, and then just eliminate the kinds of things that people can cheat on. I mean, you're also playing into people's human nature. I mean, you run a business, people steal office supplies here and there. That's the sort of thing that
I knew it was Andrew. I
that's
knew it was Andrew. Yeah.
I have the Post-it notes.
Is
at
that
home,
an admission?
yeah, I have Post-it notes at home. So
Live on the edge.
Right.
All right. Okay. Coming up next, we're going to have Brad take off his consultant role and put back his football helmet that he wore when he played college ball here. We're going to take a look at a ruling that really, no exaggeration, could revolutionize college athletics. Athletes at Northwestern, they're being granted the right to unionize. We're going to tell you why this could change the way you look at amateur athletics in America. Stay with us.